Alone in the dust, the sun was hot, the ground was dry. The wind carried dust across the broken rocks. In the middle of this lifeless place, she lay still. She was an alien woman, young and once beautiful, but now she looked half dead. Her skin was cracked from heat. Her long silver hair was tangled with blood and sand. Her once bright eyes were dull. Her body was weak and bruised. Her name was Ashira. She had no strength left to speak it. She had been left there by her own family. Her people believed she was cursed, a shame to their kind. She had made one mistake. She refused an arranged bonding with a warlord. For that, they had punished her. They took her to this dead world, far from help, and abandoned her like garbage. 3 days had passed. Her lips were dry. She hadn't eaten. She hadn't moved. She didn't even care anymore. Maybe dying was better than remembering how her mother turned her face away, how her sister pretended not to know her, how the guards threw her off the shuttle and left her. Here with nothing, above her, the sky turned orange. Buzzards flew in circles. These were no ordinary birds. Their wings were wide and their eyes were red. They fed on anything weak. They waited until the last breath left the body. One of them landed on a rock nearby. Its sharp beak clicked. It tilted its head, watching her closely. Ashira didn't flinch. She couldn't. Her heartbeat slowed. Her vision blurred. She thought. She heard something strange. It wasn't the wind. It sounded like ... wheels. THEN footsteps. Crunch. Crunch. She didn't know if it was real or just her dying mind playing tricks, but then she heard a loud sound. Bang! The buzzard let out a scream and dropped to the ground. Another one tried to fly away. Bang! The second shot hit the rocks. Then silence. She tried to open her eyes. A shadow blocked the sun. "Hey," a voice said. It was a man's voice. Deep. Calm. Human. He knelt beside her and looked at her face. He looked shocked. She was not what he had expected. "Damn," he muttered. "You're still breathing." His name was Cole. He was a scavenger, looking for old tech on this dead world. He had seen the buzzards circling from far away. He thought they had found something useful. He didn't expect to find a person, especially not an alien woman. He touched her arm. She flinched. Her skin was burning hot. "Easy," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." He pulled a small bottle from his pack and poured water on her lips. She tried to drink. Most of it spilled, but a few drops went down her throat. "That's it," he said. He took off his jacket and covered her body. It was too big for her, but it was warm. Her voice was weak, almost broken. "Why, help me." Cole looked at her. She had just spoken in standard language. "You can talk," he said. Surprised. She closed her eyes again. "Leave me. I'm already dead." Cole shook his head. "Not yet, you're not." He slid his arms under her body and lifted her up. She was light, too light. Like a bird with broken wings. As he carried her to his buggy, she whispered, "They left me, my family. They left me to die." He paused for a moment, his jaw tight. "Well, I'm not them." He laid her gently in the back seat and started the engine. Dust rose behind them as he drove fast across the rocks. Time was short. She needed help, maybe food, maybe medicine, or maybe just kindness, something she hadn't felt in a long time. As the sun began to fall behind the hills, Ashira looked at him once more. Her eyes were full of pain, but also something else. Hope. And Cole, who had only come here to find scrap metal, was now driving with something more valuable than any treasure. Life, a soul, a second chance for someone everyone else had thrown away. He didn't know who she was. He didn't care. She was breathing, and that was enough. Asterisk. The sound of soft rain tapped against metal. The wind outside howled like a beast. Inside, the old shelter was quiet, almost too quiet. Ashira opened her eyes slowly. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. Her body ached, but something soft was beneath her. She blinked again. A rough ceiling made of steel panels was above her. The smell of something warm drifted to her nose meat and herbs. She sat up fast, panicked. Her hands searched around for danger. The last thing she remembered was falling into darkness. Her family leaving her. Buzzards in the sky, but this wasn't. That place. She looked down. A thick jacket was covering her. It smelled strange, like metal and dust and something human. A voice spoke from the other room. "You're up." She turned sharply. Her heart pounded. The human stepped in. He wasn't wearing armor or a weapon now. Just simple clothes, boots, and a bandage on his wrist. He didn't smile. But he didn't seem dangerous. "You were half dead when I found you," he said, placing a steaming bowl on a nearby crate. "Here." She stared at the food. Cole sat across from her, not too close. He didn't want to scare her. He could see it in her eyes, the fear, the confusion, and the pain buried deep inside. She didn't touch the bowl. "You poisoned it?" she asked. He raised his eyebrows. "What would be the point of saving you, then killing you?" She looked down. His words made sense, but still, trust was hard. "Too hard. I've been alone here for months," he added. "You're the first voice I've heard that wasn't from a broken radio." She finally picked up the bowl with both hands. It was hot and it burned slightly, but she didn't let go. Her hands were still shaking. She took a slow sip. It was simple, but warm. Her eyes watered again, but not from the heat. He watched her, but didn't speak. He could tell this was more than just hunger. "Why did you save me?" she finally asked. Cole leaned back against the wall. "Because you were dying, and I was there. No one does anything just because," she whispered. "Especially not for someone like me." He looked at her confused. "Someone like you?" She hesitated. "My people think I'm cursed," she said, voice low. "I disobeyed them, refused to bond with someone powerful. So they left me to die, like a sick animal." Cole's face changed. It was small, but she saw it. "I don't know much about aliens," he said, "but I know betrayal when I see it." He stood and walked to the corner of the shelter, picked up a canister, and poured water into a cup. "I'm Cole, by the way." "Ashira," she said softly. "Well, Ashira," he said, handing her the cup. "You're not cursed, just unlucky." She almost laughed. Almost. Her hands warmed around the cup. The rain outside got louder, beating against the roof like drums. "Where are we?" she asked. "Edge of the Badlands. Old human mining station. I fixed it up for myself. It's not much, but it works." She looked around. There were shelves made of scrap metal, some lights powered by old batteries, and a single bed pushed against the far wall. Blankets, tools, and wires were everywhere. This place wasn't meant for guests, especially not alien ones. "I'll fix up something better for you tomorrow," Cole said. "You can take the bed for now. I'll sleep on the floor." She stared at him. "You don't have to do this," she said. "Maybe not," he replied, "but I want to." She didn't know what to say. No one had wanted to help her before. She looked at her hands. They were still dirty, still trembling. But something felt different now. Safer. Cole moved back to the other side of the room and started cleaning his weapon. Not because he needed to, but to give her space. Ashira slowly finished the food. Every bite brought back a little strength. She stood carefully, her legs still weak. "You okay?" he asked. "I want a wash," she said. "Please." He pointed to a small side room. "There's a wash unit in there. Water's cold, but it's clean. There's a towel, too." She walked toward the door, pausing as she reached it. "You're not afraid of me?" she asked. He shook his head. "Why should I be?" "Because I'm not human." He gave her a tired smile. "Neither are buzzards. But they're the ones who tried to eat you." She stood silently, heart thudding. Then she walked inside and closed the door. And for the first time in many days, Ashira felt something deep inside her chest, like maybe she was going to live. Ashira woke before the human. She had barely slept, but her body felt stronger. The warmth of real food and shelter had started to change her. She still felt pain in her bones, but her head was clear now. Her fear wasn't as sharp. The storm had passed. Light poured in through a crack in the metal wall, casting soft lines across the floor. She pulled the blanket tighter around her shoulders and looked around. Cole was sleeping on the floor with his jacket over him. His face was calm, his breathing even. He had kept his promise. Ashira stepped quietly outside. The world beyond the shelter was cold and gray. The air smelled like rain and rock. But there was something else in the wind, something sharp. She knew that scent. Ash. She walked a little farther, her bare feet soft against the ground. In the distance were the hills. Bent, smoke rose. Something had burned. Ashira turned her head. The old trees on the edge of the cliffs looked blackened. And in the wet soil nearby, she saw them footprints. Not human. Not hers. Three-toed. Deep. Fresh. She froze. Who else was out here? Suddenly, a sharp sound behind her made her spin. Cole stood in the shelter doorway, holding his rifle loosely. "What are you doing out here?" he asked. Ashira pointed. "Look." He walked over, crouched beside the prints, and studied them. His jaw tightened. "These are new. You know them?" He nodded. "Hunters. Mercs, maybe. Not human. Not friendly. I've seen prints like these near wrecked camps." Ashira looked around. The land was empty, but it felt watched. "Let's go back inside," he said. Now they walked fast. Once inside, Cole closed the metal door and slid a thick bar across it. He checked the locks on the windows and powered on a small screen on the wall. A static-filled map appeared. "I thought this place was dead," she said. "It was," Cole muttered. "Now I'm not so sure." Ashira sat down. Her heart was beating fast again. After all she'd been through, she had thought this shelter was safe. Now it felt smaller, colder. "Maybe they're not after you," she said. "Maybe not," he replied. "But maybe they followed my tracks here." Ashira looked down. "I brought danger to you." "No," he said. "They were here before you came." Cole opened a crate and pulled out 2 small packs. One had food bars, the other emergency tools. He placed one beside her. "Just in case," he said. Ashira picked it up, still unsure. "You're planning to leave?" she asked. "No," Cole said. "But I'm ready if we need to." She stared at the pack. She didn't want to run again. He could see it in her eyes. "I've lived on my own for a long time," he said. "This isn't the first threat I've seen. But it's the first time I've had someone else to worry about." She met his gaze. There was something strange in it. Not pity, not duty, something more. "You're not alone now," she said. He smiled. Just a little. Hours passed. The two of them stayed inside, watching the screen, checking outside through small slits. But nothing moved. The smoke faded in the distance. The sky darkened. Then as night fell, the noise came, a thump. Then another, slow, heavy, coming from outside the far wall. Cole grabbed his rifle. Ashira grabbed the small blade he had given her earlier. The noise stopped. They waited, breathing quietly. Then a new sound, metal scraping metal. Someone or something was trying to open the back hatch. Cole whispered, "Stay here." But Ashira followed. They moved like shadows through the shelter, avoiding creaks in the floor. Cole raised the rifle and moved to the rear door. He looked through the narrow slit beside it. Then he stepped back fast. "What is it?" she asked. "They're not mercs," he said. "They're scouts." "Scouts for what?" He didn't answer right away. "They're searching for something or someone." Her blood went cold. "You're looking for me," she whispered. Cole nodded slowly. "Looks like your past found you." The scraping stopped, then footsteps faded into the distance. They waited for another hour before moving again. But no more sounds came. They know this place is here now, he said. We need to run, she said, but he shook his head. If we run, they'll follow. If we hide, they'll surround. She swallowed hard. Then what? He looked at her, serious and steady. Then we prepare. And just like that, the shelter wasn't just a place of safety anymore. It was about to become a battlefield. Asterisk, the shelter felt different now. The walls were the same. The metal roof still groaned in the wind. But the air inside had changed. It was heavier, like it carried the weight of something unsaid. Cole sat at the workbench, checking power cells and ammo. Every sound he made echoed in the quiet. Ashira sat in the corner, legs crossed, staring at the floor. Her eyes were open, but she wasn't seeing the room. She was seeing something else. Something from before. A face, cold eyes, sharp jaw. A dark mark across his neck like burned ink. She remembered his voice, low, commanding, always cruel. You will bond, or you will vanish. She had chosen to vanish. And now he had sent his scouts. She was sure of it. Cole looked at her. He could tell she wasn't really with him. What is it? He asked. She didn't answer at first. Then she said, I remember his name. Cole stopped working. Whose? The one who wanted me. The warlord. The reason I was exiled. She said the name slowly, like it tasted like blood. Varexel. Cole didn't know the name, but the way she said it made his skin tighten. He's dangerous? He asked. He controls 3 systems. His soldiers take what they want. He never forgets a grudge. Her voice shook. I thought he'd forget me. Cole put down his tools. But he didn't, she nodded. If the scouts are here, he must be close. He won't stop until I'm captured or dead. Cole leaned forward. Then we stop him first. Ashira stared at him. You're just one man. He smiled a little. Yeah, but sometimes one is enough. She looked away. You don't understand. I was supposed to be his. Not because he cared about me, but because of my bloodline. Cole raised a brow. What bloodline? She hesitated, then spoke quietly. My mother was highborn. Her genes carry something rare. A trait only passed through daughters. A gift that heals quickly, adapts to poisons, even slows aging. He wanted that in his future heirs. Cole stood up. So you're valuable. To them, she said bitterly. Not to the people who raised me. They feared I'd bring attention, bring danger, so they gave me to him. And when I refused, they erased me. Now it made sense. The exile, the scouts. The fire in the distance. Cole rubbed his jaw. They probably tracked your DNA signature. Once you refused to bond, they saw you as wasted property. She flinched at that word property. Cole didn't mean to hurt her, but he was right. I was never free, she whispered. You are now, he said. But they both knew freedom had a price. Later that night, they worked together. Ashira showed him where to place the sensors, small discs that hummed when something moved nearby. Cole rigged the power grid to overload the front door if forced open. They shared one more warm meal in silence. Then Cole asked her a quiet question. Do you want to run? She didn't answer right away. Then, no. He nodded as if he already knew. You'll fight? She asked. I've fought worse than warlords, he said. Pirates, raiders. I've even faced bounty bots. But this is different. Why? Because this time, I'm not fighting for tech or scrap or credits. He looked her in the eye. I'm fighting for someone. She didn't say anything, but her fingers curled tightly around the blanket she wore. Outside, the night grew colder. The stars above blinked like watching eyes. Then the sensor near the cliff lit up. Blue. Cole stood fast. Movement. Ashira joined him near the screen. Another sensor lit, then another. 3, she said. Maybe 4. Cole picked up his rifle. They're moving fast. They're not here to talk. He checked the weapons charge. Didn't think so. She placed her hand gently on his arm. Don't die for me. He glanced at her. I don't plan to. Then he moved to the entrance. Ashira followed with her blade dot in the silence between heartbeats. She felt her past getting closer. The name she spoke hours ago still echoed in her mind. Varric Soldat if he was near. She had no doubt he'd come for her himself, but this time, she would not be dragged away. This time, she had someone beside her. The ground outside shook lightly as heavy footsteps approached from the south ridge. Cole and Ashira stood side by side behind the sealed metal door, eyes focused on the monitor screen. Blinking blue lights marked the sensors, 4 in total moving. Closer, slowly, like wolves circling a wounded animal. They're spreading out, Ashira whispered. Cole nodded. Trying to test for weak spots. I know that tactic. That's Sul's training. His scouts don't attack at once, they corner. Well, Cole muttered, picking up a small black case from under the bench. Then we don't give them the corner they want. He opened the case. Inside were strange old components. Wires, metal coils, a blinking core that looked barely alive. Ashira leaned in. What is that? From an old mining rig. Ancient tech but powerful. Meant to break rock with sound pulses. I changed the settings. She blinked. What will it do now? Cole gave her a sharp look. If it works, make heads explode. Ashira's eyes widened. I only get 1 pulse, he added. After that, it melts. But the blast radius is wide. We need them in range. She looked at the screen. 2 dots had stopped. One was getting too close to the back wall. They're probing, she said. We need to move. Cole handed her a small signal device. This triggers the trap. Hide behind the wreckage at the west side. When I give the word, hit the button. She didn't argue. She knew how fast scouts moved. She'd seen them rip through stronger shelters than this. If Cole was caught, he wouldn't survive a second. I won't let you down, she said. He gave her a nod more serious than any goodbye. Ashira moved fast, slipping out the side hatch and crouching low in the shadows. The rain had made the soil soft and black. Her bare feet made no sound. She reached the twisted remains of a crashed shuttle nearby, its hull split open like a metal beast. She hid behind it, clutching the signal device. The shelter was quiet. Again, then came the voice, not loud, but deep, mechanical, full of weight. Return her, human. Cole froze inside. The voice came from a speaker outside projected through armor. I don't return what doesn't belong to you, he replied. There was a pause. Then, she carries Sul's future. You delay the rightful order. Cole stepped out, he raised his rifle and pointed it at the speaker, mounted on a tall scout's shoulder. The alien was armored in dark bone metal, taller than Cole, its face hidden behind a jagged mask. She's not property, Cole said. She's free, the scout didn't move. You've chosen death. I've had worse mornings. The scout lifted its hand. The 3 others stepped into view. That's when Cole gave the signal. Ashira pressed the button. There was no sound at first, just a pulse of invisible energy dot. Then the air screamed. The scouts froze. Their armor began to shake, their eyes glowing. Under the helmets burst like sparks. All 4 collapsed to the ground without a single shot fired. The trap had worked. Ashira ran to Cole. You're okay? He nodded, breathing hard. For now. But she saw the melted core on the ground. Smoke rose from it like a dying star. That was our only shot, she said. I know. They checked the fallen scouts quickly. One of them was still alive barely. Blood leaked from its ears. Its fingers switched. Cole pointed his gun. Wait, Ashira said. He looked at her. She knelt beside the creature and whispered in its language. Sul is coming, isn't he? The scout grinned with bloody teeth. He's already here. Then it died. Ashira stood up slowly. Her hands shook. Cole looked at her. What did he say? That this was only the beginning. Cole's jaw tightened. They had won the battle, but the real war was walking toward them. Somewhere out there, Viruk's soul was moving closer. And now he knew Ashira was protected. He won't send scouts next time, she said. No, Cole agreed. He'll come himself. Ashira touched the side of her neck. Her veins glowed faintly under the skin. Cole noticed. What is that? It's starting again, she whispered. The bloodline he wants. It activates under stress. My body is changing. Cole stepped forward. Is that dangerous? To him, she said. Yes, but also to me. They stood in silence as the rain began again. They had bought time. But time was running out. Asterisk. The wind stopped. Not slowed. Stopped. Even the air held its breath. Ashira stood near the edge of the shelter's door. Her eyes wide, her body trembling, but not from fear, from memory. From the pressure building in the sky. She felt it in her bones before she saw him. Viruk's soul had arrived. Cole stepped forward with his rifle slung across his chest. His eyes were sharp, scanning the ridgeline beyond the rocks. It was quiet, too quiet. The birds were gone. Even the bugs had stopped moving. He's here, Ashira said. How do you know? Cole asked. She turned to him slowly. Because the world always goes silent before he kills something. Then the air shimmered. Something was walking through the dust. At first, it looked like a shadow, tall, wide, surrounded by 4 spider-like guards that moved without sound. Their armor gleamed black and green. Their legs clicked lightly across the rock. Then came him. Viruk's soul. No helmet. No armor. Just long, deep robes made of living silk that moved like snakes. His eyes were glowing gold. His skin was pale gray, flawless, almost beautiful in the way statues were beautiful, cold, unfeeling, eternal. He stopped just beyond the broken ridge, where the last of his scouts had died. He looked down at one of the fallen bodies and let out a sigh, as if someone had dropped wine on a carpet. Then he raised his head and looked directly toward the shelter. He didn't blink. He didn't speak, but he smiled. Ashira took a step back. Cole lifted his weapon and whispered, "Is he reading us?" She nodded. "He doesn't need devices. His mind touches others. He's searching." "I've got a shot," Cole said. "No," she snapped. "He's testing you. If you fire first, he destroys this place in one wave." Cole lowered the rifle, heart pounding. "So what now?" "He wants me to come to him," Ashira said. "He always plays games first. He wants control." "I won't let you go," Cole said. "I'm not asking permission," she whispered. Then she stepped outside. The wind returned, but it only followed her. Cole watched, stunned, as she walked into the open. She looked so small beside the wreckage, her white hair now loose around her shoulders, her feet still bare, her hands at her sides. Viruk's soul raised one hand. His guards froze. "My little exile," he said softly, his voice somehow reaching her without speakers. "You've grown brave." She didn't bow. "I've grown free." He tilted his head. "You always had a mouth. I missed it. You left me to rot. I gave you time to reconsider, but you chose defiance." She stepped closer. "You wanted to own my body," she said. "But not my soul." He looked amused. "What is a soul?" "A thing to be burned or bent." Cole was now behind cover, rifle ready. He didn't understand the alien words, but the way they looked at each other told him everything. This wasn't just an enemy. This was history. Viruk's eyes flicked toward the shelter. "The human. He's yours now?" "He gave me food," she said. "Shelter, kindness." Soul's smile vanished. "Then he dies slowly." Ashira stood tall. "Not before you fall." Soul lifted his hand. The guards moved forward. That was the signal. Cole threw the pulse. Grenade dotted exploded in a flash of light and noise high enough to scramble the spider guard's legs. Ashira dove sideways, rolled, grabbed the blade at her ankle, and launched toward Varrock like a wild star. He didn't expect it. She struck his side, cutting through his robe, but only nicking flesh. He snarled. "You dare! I'm not your property," she screamed. He struck her with a psychic wave. She flew back, hit the ground hard, and gasped. Cole fired from the ridge, hit one of the guards in the core, causing it to spark and collapse. Varrock turned to him, furious now. "You," he hissed. "You think you can stand beside her?" Cole kept firing. Varrock's hand rose again. The rocks trembled, but Ashira had gotten up again. Her blood was glowing now, veins lit like fire beneath her skin. The change was complete. Cole saw it too. Her eyes were no longer soft. They burned. She screamed and charged again. Varrock reached for her with one mind pulse, but she dodged it, slid under him, and stabbed up into his back between the ribs. He gasped, then screamed. His guards fell into static. His mind lost control. He turned, staggering, blood running down his back. "You will regret," but she shouted, "I'm not afraid of you anymore," and slammed her blade straight into his heart. His eyes widened, then dimmed. Then Varrock collapsed. Dead. Smoke drifted over the hills. The sky was pale, washed by light rain. The sound of battle was gone now. Only silence remained. Ashira stood still beside Varrock's body. Her hands were shaking. Her blade was still deep in his chest. His glowing golden eyes had dimmed to nothing. The great warlord, the one who had called her a tool, a future, a thing, was finally dead. She dropped the blade. Her knees hit the ground. Cole ran to her, boots splashing in the mud. He dropped beside her and wrapped his arms around her shoulders. She didn't speak. Her head rested against his chest. Her body trembled, not from fear, but from everything that had built up for years: pain, anger, loneliness. "It's over," he whispered, but she didn't believe it yet. They sat there for a long time. When the rain stopped, Cole stood and checked the broken spider guards. All were dead. The last of Syl's forces had fallen. The sky above them no longer watched like it used to. It was just a sky now. "What happens to me now?" Ashira finally asked. Cole looked at her. "What do you want to happen?" She shook her head slowly. "I've never had that choice." He crouched beside her, took her hand gently, and said, "You do now." That night they burned Syl's body. His strange robes hissed and curled in the fire. His guards were thrown into the ravine. Cole didn't speak. Ashira watched the flames with quiet eyes. The fire cracked and sparked like it had a voice of its own. She whispered, "He always told me I'd be forgotten." Cole replied, "Then, let's make sure you're not." The next morning, they stood on the ridge overlooking the valley. The shelter behind them was quiet again, but not broken. Cole carried a crate full of supplies. Ashira carried nothing but a new look in her eyes. "I need to go back," she said. He blinked. "Back to your people?" She nodded. "They threw me away, but they need to see me now. Not as the weak girl they abandoned, as someone who lived, as someone who fought." Cole studied her carefully. "They might not welcome you." "I don't want welcome," she said. "I want them to know that I survived without them." He looked at the crate. "I can go with you." She smiled softly. "I know, but I think I have to do this part alone." Cole didn't argue. He respected her strength too much. He reached into his pack and pulled out something wrapped in cloth. "I want you to have this." She unwrapped it, a small emblem carved by hand from broken metal. On one side was a symbol of Earth. On the other, her name, Ashira. She looked at him, touched. "You made this?" He shrugged. "Started it the day after I found you." She clutched it tightly. "Why?" "Because I knew even then you were worth remembering." She hugged him without words. His arms held her close. Then she stepped away. "I'll come back," she promised. Wait," he said. She turned and walked toward the horizon. The wind followed her, but she didn't look back. Days passed. Cole rebuilt the shelter. Stronger walls, better defenses. He repaired the power lines, fixed the broken panels. He talked to no one, heard from no one. But every time he looked at the ridge, he wondered if he'd see her again. Then one evening, when the sun touched the rocks in gold, she returned. She was different now. Her hair was tied back. She wore simple armor, not for battle, but as a symbol. Around her neck, she wore the Earth emblem. Her posture was proud. Her eyes steady. "I thought you'd take longer," Cole said, standing by the door. "I thought so too," she said. But it didn't take much to shake them. They saw the warlord's mark. They heard what I did. "What did you tell them?" "That I'm not theirs anymore." He stepped aside. She entered. "I told them one more thing," she said. "What's that?" "I've chosen my name," she said. "Not the one they gave me. Not the one Saul wanted. A name from the person who saved me." She showed him the emblem. "Ashira Cole," she said with a smile. His eyes widened. "You're taking my name? I already took your shelter, your food. Your kindness seemed fair." He laughed for her. The first time in days. "Well, Mrs. Cole, welcome home." She leaned closer and whispered, "Not your wife." "Not yet," he said with a wink. They both smiled. And in that broken world full of silence and scars, two lives once thrown away stood side by side, not as captor and captive, not as savior and saved, but as equals. And together, they wrote a new beginning. The END